All right. Okay, we are live. We are live.
Yes, we are.
Peace, 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 peace. This is your sister Roo, MaWu Lisa Temple. You are with Nick and Roo for UnRead. It is Saturn Day, and we are here and happy to be sharing with you some unread or maybe even revisited books. We hope that you have had a fantastic time. Since the last time we were together, we had the guest knowledgeable on the law on talking about his books, and so here we are at a new week. We are talking about some unread books. Nick, I don't know about you. I got something that's a little controversial this week. So I'm just gonna say, I hope you're ready and I hope our audience is ready because this is a heavy one right here. So how you doing, Nick?
Oh man, I'm just excited as you. Always excited to be here and talk about our favorite thing, which is books. And I'm here for the controversy. Mine won't be as controversial as yours, but I'm here for it. I can't wait. I can't wait. I love you some controversy.
Hey, listen, gotta learn to think for ourselves, correct? So this is what pushes us into that space that makes us have to think for ourselves, man. This is amazing. I love doing this. It's nothing more that we could do that would be more fun on a Saturday afternoon than sitting and kicking about some books, except for kicking it about some movies. Because that right there, decoding movies is a whole nother level of the game. But these books that we got for right now, they are serving their purpose. So, Nick, last time we were here, like I said, we had Knowledge Born in Law. We talked about Voice of the Diaspora. That was, saying a great conversation. Thank you again to the brother at Do the Knowledge Radio. He's doing that fundraising. Make sure y'all get over there and get your e-bundles and get ready for those next ones coming out. It was a pleasure for me and Nick to be able to have him on and share that information with us and with our viewers. So I hope that you that are watching and have watched and will watch, go ahead and get that e-bundle, Knowledge Born Allah, Do the Knowledge Radio. So today,
Do we still have that promo?
do we still have? I think we do still have it, the promo going. So yeah, we have what was the buy? It was buy.
Was it five? Was it five? Was it five people?
Five.
Yeah, five people.
Buy five. If we get five of our viewers to go ahead and buy, we would donate a book for him, a bundle for him to give out to a community needy family or what have you. Falls right in line with our other programming, Nick, where we donate books. So this is what we do. So that's a way for us to be able to continue to support the brother. And again, you got those other books coming out, Voices Diaspora. So today's books, while we are not doing a super surprise, they are a surprise because they are unread. Like I said, sometimes these are reread books that we go back into after some time. I mean, Nick and I both have collected books for years, and we don't seem to be slowing up. It's one of those things where, like my mom said, there's worse things I could be buying with my money. So, with that being said, Nick, would you like to share your book first, or do you just want me to go ahead and just drop this thing like the pan that it is, like a frying pan in a cartoon to a character's head? Because man, this one blew my mind.
Yeah, I guess I can warm it up for you and be the opening act for you.
Well, I'll all for it, brother. You go ahead and drop it on us.
All right. So my offering for this episode 15 of Unread is called The Instruction by Ainslie MacLeod. The Instruction, subtitle, Living the Life Your Soul Intended. And this is an unread. I haven't read this one yet. This one was gifted to me by my good friend Jameer. So shout out to Jameer. Thank you for this. I haven't read it yet, but it is in the queue. It is in the queue, most likely for a Q1 of 2025. If I don't get to it in December of next month, it will be Q1 of 2025. So let's flip it over and see what this is about. At the top, this is the back of the book. On the top there, it says, uncover the life your soul has planned for you. And it says, have you ever sensed that your life has a deeper, more meaningful purpose, but you don't know what it is? If so, you're not alone. To help you and the millions like you, psychic Ainslie MacLeod spirit guides have given him a systematic approach to uncovering who you really are and the life your soul has planned for you. They call it the instruction. Now, this unique teaching is offered as a step-by-step program for realizing personal fulfillment. The instruction will take you through 12 quote-unquote doorways to unveil the life plan your soul created before you were even born, including your soul age, determining how it shapes your beliefs and behaviors, your soul type. Are you a spiritualist, thinker, creator? What your soul type reveals about your true self. Past life fears, how exploring previous lifetimes helps overcome blocks to happiness in this life. And talents, reaching back into past life experiences to create a more fulfilling future. By taking you on a journey beyond this plane, Ainslie MacLeod uses the instructions groundbreaking system to help you unlock the secrets of your soul's purpose and illuminate the path of your life. And in addition to all of that, this book also includes a reading group guide with discussion questions as if you were, performing a book club. So they have some discussion questions in the back that I'll share a couple of those once I actually open it up. But just to tell you a little bit about the author, Ainslie MacLeod, as mentioned above, he is a psychic, but it also says that he uses talents as a psychic to explore the soul and its effects on human beliefs and behavior for more than a decade. Collaborating with elevated spirit guides, he developed the instruction as a way to help each of us understand our own personal destiny. Originally from Aberdeen, Scotland, he currently lives in the beautiful Pacific Northwest, where from his office on the tranquil island, he offers psychic guidance to clients worldwide. He's also a faculty member at the Omega Institute, and he was a featured teacher on Oprah's Soul series. So this is that's him right there, the author. Okay. And if we open it up, this book is divided into three parts. For a total of 12 chapters. Part 1 is called Direction. Part 2 is called Empowerment. Part 3 is called Fulfillment. Chapter 1 is the door to consciousness, investigating the soul's existence. Chapter 2, the door to perception. Soul ages, the source of your beliefs. Chapter 3, the door to acceptance. Soul types, the heart of your individuality. Chapter 4, the door to achievement. Missions, your life's purpose. Chapter 5, the door to recovery. Fears, healing past life damage. Chapter 6, the door to balance. Desires, avoiding false goals. Chapter 7, the door to transformation. Challenges, overcoming the enemy within. Chapter 8, the door to wisdom. Investigations, understanding through experience. Chapter 9, the door to creativity, talents, drawing on abilities from your past. Chapter 10, the door to spirituality, powers, connecting with the soul world. Chapter 11, the door to enlightenment, paths, acting from your soul. Chapter 12, the door to happiness, living the life your soul intended. And like I mentioned earlier, you have reading group questions. If you're reading this with someone else, or if you're reading this as a part of a book club. And just to give you a sample of an idea of what you can expect from this book and the type of discussions that can emerge from this book. The first reading group question says, in the introduction to the instruction, Ainslie MacLeod describes how learning to connect with his soul's purpose helped him make better choices in his life. Can you think of a time when you felt your life was taking the wrong path? Do you recognize any similarities between your past and that of the authors? Can you identify with MacLeod's initial reluctance to accept his role as a psychic? And then I'm going to go to, I'm going to pick the number 7, since today's a number 7 day. It's the 16th. And there's another reason why I'm picking the number 7, but I'll get to that in a minute. Question number 7 says, how did you relate to the past life fears described in chapter 5? How are past life fears and the concept of reincarnation related? Do you recognize any past life fears and phobias in yourself or those around you? Why do you think a phobia of judgment and its related fear of public speaking is so common? And just to give you one more sample, of course, we're going to go to question number 11, since it's the 11th month. Because talents are past life related, can you picture how your own talents might have originally developed? Does the knowledge that talents come from prior incarnations help make them seem less mysterious? And which talents do you think Ainslie MacLeod might have called upon when writing the instruction? Now, so those are a few of the questions. There's 13 discussion questions in total. So I just wanted to share a couple of those questions along with the titles of the chapters and the description of the book, just to give people an idea of what they can expect. Now, when of course, I'm supreme numerics as well. so intuition and spirit told me, why don't you add up the title of the book? And the instruction adds up to the number 7 in the Chaldean system of numerology. And this sounds like a very spiritual book, and it sounds like the instruction, and as his spirit guides have downloaded to the author, the instruction is the approach to uncovering who you are and the life your soul has planned for you. So right there, you can tell that this is a very spiritual approach here, spiritual standpoint, spiritual approach. It's about, again, the instruction is here to get the reader to go below the surface and to really meditate on their motives, their past, the reason why things are the way they are, the reason why we are the way we are. That's what the instruction is here to tell us, from both the definition provided by the author as well as the numerical meaning and perspective of the title. Now, in the Pythagorean system of numerology, it adds up to a number 6. And the number 6 is a healing energy. It's a healing energy. It's a number of balance. It's a number of family. It's a number of the home. But healing and balance. The instruction is here to teach us or share with us those particular vibrations. So that is my offering for this episode. Again, the title is The Instruction, Living the Life Your Soul Intended by Ainslie MacLeod. Like I said, I plan on reading this during the first quarter of 2025. Then I'll provide my feedback to Roo, because it sounds like a book that might be an excellent addition to Mawulisatemple and the fall and winter studies. So that was my offering for this edition.
All right. I've never heard of that book, so I love it when that happens. That you offer something that I haven't heard of. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm definitely looking forward to your review. It sounds very interesting. It sparked a lot of questions. I was thinking a lot of things while you were sharing what you did, about, the author, his background, and some of the exercises and things that he takes you through, and also those study questions. So what I was gonna say to you is, you said that book was gifted to you. So it, like you said, it seems very highly spiritual, and it almost begs to say that a person that would choose that book already has or leans towards the belief in things like psychics, and the ability to be able to look into past lives and things like that. Is that something that falls in line with what you study regularly, or is this kind of more of a, this was gifted to me, so I'm going to move into this kind of space with psychics and things of that nature, channeling?
Yeah, probably the latter. I haven't studied much of it, but it's always been something that I've been interested in and always had the intention of getting to at some point. The same person that gifted me this book, Speaking of Past Lives, she's had a past life regression session, and she actually referred me to the person that she's worked with. So this is coming from someone who has a little bit more experience with it and study with it than I have, but it's definitely something that I'm looking to I won't say transition into, but to add to my tool belt of spiritual tools.
Right. It seems it's one of those things where, like you said, you can definitely do it in a book club. I can see, studying with your partner or a small group, and definitely what you said about the temple here and adding it into our winter fall studies, or either our spring studies, but I definitely, especially the spring studies, because you're doing this kind of work to kind of move things out of the place. I mean, be able to springboard forward with clearing out things and understanding things from the past. So I definitely could see how that could be beneficial. Absolutely. So I know that your review will be thorough, and you will be letting me know just how great it is, because it sounds like an amazing book.
It does.
It sounds like an amazing book. I really, I can't say that I remember the very first time I ever came in contact with anyone that talked about like channeling and past lives, stuff like that. I was very, 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 very skeptical. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, I'm not sure about that. And it's interesting to get older and have experiences or situations where you learn so much more, and how much actually is, that we just not aware of. So I think that's really awesome that you were gifted that book. So whoever gave you that book, good look out, good look out, good look out. We gotta love the people that gift us books. What? Come on now. Come on. Better than money. Better than money. Oh, yeah. I just want to say to everyone, thank you for being here with us. We really come to you so sincere when we share our books with you, because this is what we do anyway. We talk about books, but how cool is it we get to share with our audience books that you may not have heard of. I mean, Nick and I, we've been talking about books for dang near a decade straight, and we still haven't come across everything that we've each read. So it's wonderful to be able to just share that continued love for learning. You know what I mean? And just delving into different places that you wouldn't necessarily, go, because I can remember a time I wouldn't have thought about reading a book like that. Just wouldn't have thought about it. It wouldn't have been one of the ones. I mean, I probably wouldn't even been in a section near something to kind of, deal with it. I was more like into my history, my anthropology, politics, things like that. Same. So I wouldn't even been near there. You know what I mean?
Same here.
So yep. It's nice to grow, in your literary interests, and be able to pick up a book and take from it something, and when we share with you guys, most times we do not tell each other what we're going to bring. Just so y'all know, we tell each other at the very last minute, because we always trying to surprise each other. But Nick, have we always seemed to pick books that match each other?
Yeah. And we promise the audience we do not plan this.
We do not plan this.
Even if the genres are different, they still end up connecting somehow.
Some way. And today is no different. And it's so powerful because this book that I am bringing today, I told you it's a heavy one. It just smack you all around. You know what I mean? It's smacking me around since 2013. So, you know what I'm saying? 2014, it's been smacking me around. But let me let you know, it ties in so much to what you shared this week. And I'm just excited to be bringing it. And, we always let people know, we talk about all kinds of things on this page, any books of all types, so you will find a lot of spirituality in religion and all of these things like that. We are not here to convince anyone to do anything. We are just here sharing some pretty awesome books with you. So do with it as you will. Do no harm. And just remember, hey, if you read it and you like it, let us know. How about that? Right. So my book this week came to me. It was gifted to me. Like I said, it was one of those books I probably never would have read because of the subject matter, and I was advised that I couldn't study the light without studying the dark. And that if I was to understand the soul, that sometimes I would have to go off of the path. And this book was gifted to me. Lords of the Left-Hand Path, Forbidden Practices, and Spiritual Heretics. From the cult of Set to the Church of Satan.
Woo!
So I don't need to tell you, let me get that out there light. I don't need to tell you that this wasn't something I probably would have readily picked up. Not because, it's all woo-woo scary or nothing, but I was like, nah, I'm good over here studying to be light and love and all this, be free, run like the wind kind of energy. But I was told by an elder, look, you're gonna have to open your eyes all the way, not just the pretty little fairy parts. So this book is written by Stephen E. Flowers, Ph.D. And its first release was in 97, and the second release in 2012. Like I said, it came into my life around 2013, 2014. The reason I'm listing this one as an unread is because I went into this book much like I do many of my books, which is reference for work that I'm doing in another space. But this book is worthy of its own space, so that's why I'm listing it as an unread. So let's talk a little bit about the author here. It says Stephen E. Flowers, Ph.D., received his doctorate in Germanic languages and medieval studies from the University of Texas at Austin, and studied the history of occultism at the University of Göttingen in Germany. The author to more than 24 books, including Hermetic Magic. He is the director of the Woodharrow Institute for Germanic and Runic Studies and lives near Austin, Texas. This book is powerful. And I say it's powerful because when we share books, when we talk about these books, we don't tell people to go in and word for word a book and everything it say is true. These are spaces to get us to start to think. And that's one of the things that this book says that it'll help you do. It'll help you get out of the mindset that things have to be just one way. Adam Parfrey, the author of Ritual America, The Secret Brotherhoods of Influence on American Society, said, left-hand path philosophy finally receives an objective and extremely informative reading from Stephen Flowers and is highly recommended. This book will be surely hailed as a classic in its field. So it says, Flowers explains that while the right-hand path seeks union and with thus dependence on God, the left-hand path seeks a higher law based on the knowledge and power. It is the way of self-empowerment and true freedom, beginning with the ancient Hindu and Buddhist sects and moving towards westward. He examines the many alleged left-hand path groups, including the cult of Set, the Assassins, the Neoplatonists, the Hellfire Club, the Bolsheviks, the Nazis, the heretical Sufi, Zoroastrianism, Christianity, and Muslim sect. I told you the book was controversial because everybody that think that that's one of the things we know, that everybody think their way is the way. That's why we got all the fighting going on, because everybody think their way is the way. But what this book is attempting to do is show that every one of them have a left-hand path and they all are related. I wanted to read here the preface here, just a part of it, because it talks about under the lens of reason. And it says, the contents of this book present the ideas of practitioners of the left-hand path, or those who have been considered as such, under the lens of reason. By entering into the minds of the masters of the left-hand path philosophies, the darkness is illuminated and deeper truths are revealed. No one who reads and understands the contents of this book will ever be subject to the tyranny of superstition perpetuated by the tabloid mentality as it regards the actual practitioners of the left-hand path, whether they are called Satanists, devil worshippers, or Satans. It says the common trait of all left-hand practitioners is that they focus on their own selves as their first source of power, and they seek to cultivate deep and enhance separate unique sources to the path of their own happiness by turning inward to the dark depths of one unsouled soul to find a light as old as mankind. So I wanted to read that part because it's basically saying to us that the very thing that we do in many of our talks is that religion teaches you to step outside and seek outside for a source of power. In this so-called left-hand path, what they're saying is it's not what people say it is. It's a way of stepping inside and basically getting deeper into your spirituality, because you're looking at yourself as the source of power, and your source coming from the fact that you were created from a source that was great. So Lords of the Left-Hand Path, they go into some really, really heavy things in here. They have in the beginning here a little bit of talk about the right hand path versus the left hand path, white magic versus black magic, and the lords of the left hand path. While it begins with the roots in the Orthodox Hebrew faiths and some of the others, and basically one of the things that is a heavy theme throughout is that religion has scared people into a mindset that won't allow them to be able to look deeper into self, because anytime you do step away from the regularly scheduled programming, you are now outside of what we say you can be, and you are a Satanist, devil worshiper, all of these other things. I'm not the first person to say, nor shall I be the last person to say, that when you are talked about the word Lucifer and the roots of it and what it means, light bearer and all these different things, and the word Satan not being what it means, like when you begin to look at these things, the stories that he tells in this book, they talk about basically stepping outside of said Orthodox religion, i.e. Judaism, Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, stepping out of the box version of it and seeking it on a more spiritual level, a deeper level. So basically, what they're saying is the left-hand path that is so wicked and evil and dark is actually the true path inward to help us to evolve into what it is we say we want to be. Now, he also makes very clear in here that he's not saying that evil does not exist and people do not do horrible things in the name of anything, but he also made the very good point that in the name of quote unquote God, people do horrendous things as well. So I thought that was important to say, is that he did acknowledge the fact that people are extremists, and that's not what he was speaking to in this way. He does talk about the Gnostics, which I think in Gnosticism, and I think that's a very great addition to a book when you're talking about the left-hand path, because we know that now in these days people are thinking about the more esoteric levels of some of the things that they study, and they realize that this is Gnosticism, and it would be considered a left-hand path. It would be considered black magic by the standards in which society has called these things anytime you don't study the way they tell you to. And at this time, I just want to add this, not getting political, but if our youth are being made to study a book in school and they teaching them a certain kind of way, I'm just saying, this is the same thing over and over again, teaching inside of a box and letting you know that if you step outside of it, you are not, you are practicing something that's other than spiritual or holy or righteous or upright. The many sources that he lists here, when I say there's a complete list of references for each chapter of the book, he leaves nothing undone. I'm letting you know this is a very comprehensive book of information. Let me just go through the contents for you. It's the left-hand path, Eastern traditions, roots of the Western tradition, first millennium, the path of Satan, Lucifer unbound, and then it talks about an interlude elsewhere, speaking about Adolf Hitler and the modern mythologizing of evil, the occult revival, the Church of Satan, and the Temple of Set, which I thought was interesting that they went in that direction, because The Temple of Set, I would have thought would have been in the beginning, but they put it at the end of this list, and I'm interested to go in and see why. There's a couple of points that I wanted to really jump into, but I'll land on this one for now, unless we continue in this vein. It was something I found very interesting. I got so many things highlighted here that I wanted to add on about, but this one talks about the ethics of the satanic ethics. And we've been covering morals in our unmasking morality and speaking of ethics and things of that way. And so it says, in what some might consider a paradoxical and ironic way, the Black Pope is a man virtually obsessed with morality and ethics. Machiavellian though these ethics might be, they are nonetheless strong and vital, just as the mythical Milton figure of Satan is expressed as rebellion against the inherent cosmic injustice embodied in Jehovah. So I just wanted to kind of show you that even in that path, they talk about morals and ethics and things that are held in high regard. And one of them is thinking for yourself. And this book encourages you to revisit some of the places that we were told are evil, and finding it that it's only those who have decided that they would not stay inside the box of said religion, in which is the origin of each of these paths. So Lord's the Left-Hand Path, Stephen E. Flowers, I'm more a definite reference book, one that you wouldn't just sit down and read like a novel. This is not that. You have to go in pretty much with intention. I definitely could see this easily taking a year to read, easily. If you're going to go in and really do the references and things like that, I could see it taking a year. And I thought it was interesting. It has very few pictures, but the few that it has, I thought were interesting. And because it talks about Jesus, the Lord of the left-hand path, and it's asking, was Jesus the left-hand path? Because they talk about the doctrine of law that was going on at the time. So Lords of the Left-Hand Path, y'all, this is one that you can't go in if you are still afraid. This is one you can't go in if you can't break with the programming and conditioning of fire and brimstone. So this is not for the faint-hearted. Hey, Lord's the Left-Hand Path, y'all. Lord's the Left-Hand Path.
Woo! Oh my goodness.
Gotta let them cook, baby. Gotta let them cook.
Good Lord. Nigga, hot up in here. Woo!
And it's heavy too. It feel heavy. You know what I mean? It feel heavy.
Oh my goodness. Man. Well, I got a lot of thoughts about this, but I want to do this first.
Okay.
We'll do this first. Go back to the beginning of your sharing when you were talking about the author. You said the author wrote 25 books and including what? What was that?
24 books. 24 books, including one on Hermetic magic.
Watch this. I'll give you that. I'll give you that freebie right there. I'll give you that freebie right there.
I was saying, I know Nick has that book. I was like, I know he has that one. That's what I'm talking about.
I did share this one on my Instagram, maybe last year or the year before last. But yeah, because I'm like, that author's name sounds familiar. I heard that name before. I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, that's where I know.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. See, look at that. So you know the type of writing that this author does, and he's very thorough. Mm-hmm. He's very thorough, especially in listing references and things of that nature. He lets you know that everything he doesn't necessarily agree with, but he's sharing, equally, because he wants people to be able to make decisions for themselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. So now that I got that out of the way, let me see what I wrote down here.
Yes.
So you already answered what is meant by the left-hand path, because that was what I was thinking about initially, but you answered that. And the left-hand path really brings to mind duality, for me. Duality and acknowledging duality. However you express duality, whether it's light and dark, yin and yang, it's the balance there that there's two sides. You use the word esoteric. The companion or the opposite of esoteric would be exoteric, with the X. Exoteric. Now, a question that came to mind after I thought about what was meant by left-hand path is the history. Now, based on the bit of studying that you have done in this book, does he go into the history of how the practices or the systems that are considered left-hand paths become left-hand paths? Because we know when we study the history, sometimes we'll see that the left-hand path wasn't originally a left-hand path, but due to politics and social campaigns and things like that, the tables got turned, things got flipped up and mixed up, and the left-hand path became what is now labeled or considered to be the left-hand path.
Absolutely, absolutely. Great question. Yeah, he does briefly, and I think that's why he goes so deep into detail with his bibliography and references, because he wants to be able to put all that in. As you can imagine, the many transformations that some of these groups take, it would be almost impossible to put it all into one document, one book. But it does talk about things that does show, like, for example, in the study of Nazis and magic, one of the things he talks about is what Nazi cosmology looks like. And people some of these things people have never even heard of. So to kind of try to go in and embrace it, it would sound counter to everything probably that you were taught, but it does give a little bit of background into when. And what I think people would be surprised is the recentness in some of this. You know what I mean? For example, it talks about Michael Cater and his work in this, and it being in 1974. And then someone, Ulrich Hunger, in 1984, and how they become a part of this ideology and how it's constantly growing, and people are going deeper and deeper into the esoteric aspect of some of the studies that they had been given in traditional Christianity and things like that. And I think also more of what he does than show the evolution of it is he shows the practitioners of height at its time. So, for example, he talks about Crowley when Crowley was in, like, you couldn't say magic without associating it with Crowley, and it's always been a time like that. And so that's what he does more of, and he actually speaks to that in the beginning of the book, that he shows you the practitioners of it and how they were applying it at the time that they were, and how it can become something that is dark and harmful and things like that, because he talks about the Nazis and things, out Adolf Hitler and his movement in space, and how initially it was something else. So that is how he touches on that, but he speaks a lot to the actual practitioners of that time periods, and then he gives you references in the back for each practitioner of where you can find more information on the evolution of the practice. Okay. And that's why I said I was very surprised that he put the Temple of Set last, because we know the Temple of Set is ancient. You know what I mean?
Right. Is there a contemporary Temple of Set also?
That's what he seems to be alluding to.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what he seems to allude to.
Yeah, I'm thinking that might be the reason. There might be a contemporary Temple of Set.
Absolutely. I wouldn't, I have something else I would like to share with that, but about this book, but I'll wait on that. But it definitely makes you wonder if there is a contemporary, I wouldn't be surprised. Mm-hmm. Look at what's going on right now. We have more people being willing to shed the tradition and the dogma and things like that. And let me just say where I felt this talk could definitely go in terms of how those books that the book you shared and this one goes together, and really starting to know the self and being able to be the best version of yourself, which would make you the happiest, because you being the best version of you, is that the conditioning and programming of religion is so deep inside of people that it will not let them let go. I said for myself, this book is not one I would have readily picked up, not because I was afraid of it, or not that I was even afraid of it contradicting what I thought I was believing at the time. It was more about, I ain't gonna mess with that. That's that other stuff. You know what I mean? But if you remember that statement that I read to you, that he said he wanted this book to, one of the things he wanted from this work was to free people from superstitions. People think about our African traditions. Many of us don't mess with them because they look like something so foreign, mm-hmm. and so scary and so native that we won't find connection with it, but then turn around and do Hail Marys and thank Saint Christopher and all these things, not realizing that these are the same things. You know what I mean? And you just are practicing an offshoot of something that a group says is evil. Just because somebody says something is evil don't mean, quote unquote, necessarily it is. But like he said, there is an element of harm in things out here, because if you working with free will, people will abuse that. Mm-hmm. This is what we know. So one of the things the reason I read the part about the ethics and the morals is because people who really study the left-hand path have a line too.
Yeah.
They have a line too. Just, and I would go so far as to say they have a line, because we know some of this other stuff won't even give you a line. It just say, because I said so, heaven and hell, do what I say, and that's it. This is more adult, if you will, because you have to say, you know what? That right there crossed my line. Not going to do it. Just because I have knowledge of it and I know how to do a thing, don't mean I have to do it. You know what I'm saying? We know how to trick kids and take lollipops, but we don't do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I love the babies and the lollipops. But yeah. You know, I just, you know, it's I think that these kind of books that we offered today are for those who have decided, even with fear still embedded in them a little bit, that I'm willing to at least begin to open my mind and allow myself to make, you know, you'll know if something is for you, if it's not, you'll know. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Just like with any other book, you'll know what's for you and what's not. But I think this is one of those spaces. These is one of these opportunities where you can actually begin to think for yourself, like really, you know, sit and reason. You know what I mean? Sit and reason. And that's why he talked about reason. And then he said, because what somebody would say is a dark path is more of you just saying, okay, I got the surface level of what y'all was trying to tell me, but now how do I believe it? How do I work it into my life? How do I stand on it? I can repeat what you said. I could parrot what you said, but can I live it? And that's what I feel like the left-hand path is about. And that's kind of how he addresses it here. And again, you know, I'm not here to convince nobody. I'm just telling you what I saw. The book is excellent, great reference. Lot of surprising little things in there, and I definitely recommend it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What you were just saying, that last part about the experience, you know, believing it for yourself. That's the whole concept of mysticism, and you know, particularly Christian mysticism, as I've studied and I've gained some more familiarity with it, is that, you know, in the box, in the traditional sense, Christianity is, like you said, reading the text, understanding what the text is saying and what it means. But the mysticism piece comes in when you have that individual spiritual experience that's individual, you know, for you. That's a prime example there. And speaking of that, you were talking about Jesus in the left-hand path. I would take a stab at that question and say that Jesus would be considered the left-hand path, especially during the time in which that narrative was written, or the setting of that narrative. because you know, the traditional, you know, Jewish priests and scholars, you know, they're looking at like what the, who this guy, who do he think he is? Facts. You know, him and Paul, they was on some other stuff, like during that time. They was radical during their time. You know, it seemed normal now to everybody. It seemed like the right-hand path and the normal path now, but back during that time, that was definitely the left-hand path.
Absolutely. The fact that they had to meet in secret. Anytime you got to meet in secret, you already outside of their box.
Oh yeah.
You know, you outside of their box. You know, they consider it heresy instantly. You know what I mean? And they instantly will get rid of you if they can. But definitely Jesus would have been considered, you know, left-hand path. And you know, and I want to just say for those watching, you know, we are not talking necessarily about these physical bodies, because that always giving, they be like, oh, they think Jesus was real important. Listen, we not here. We talking about the moral of the story. Dang it, y'all, stay with us, ride with us, work with us here. We are talking about these ideas that help and shape and mold us. You know what I mean? Again, being willing to be radical, to learn, and to push forward in a system that's doing you dirty. That's what's needed now. We need people to snap out of it now. Turn inside and ask themselves what's really real, what's really good, you know, so they can achieve the things that they are working towards now. You know, and I think it's unfortunate that we so quick to label each and everything. But we all know, regardless of right-hand path or left-hand path, it's people that's doing wrong. And what we say is wrong is the collective wrong.
That's why I was that. Oh yeah, that's why I wanted to touch on too. When you were talking about that line,
yes,
because you know, a lot of people who are in that box, they will tell you that being a good person is not enough. When in actuality, being a good person is spirituality. That's what it is.
And what is a good person?
Right.
What does that look like? You know, what all does that entail?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. But we're talking about good, good and evil. We think about all the people, like we said, that know their text and know their doctrine from front to back, but they're tripping children and taking lollipops.
That part, stranger danger. Yes. Yeah. yes, sir. Yes, I agree.
That's what we talking about.
And you made a point where you even said, you know, it in mysticism, they talk about that space that you get to where you do it just because you don't want to. Not because, not because you'll get in trouble, not because you're going to heaven or hell, not because anybody is watching, which they talk about as a part of integrity, but this is where we say, you know what? That's a line for me right there. I'm good on that. I'm good on that right there. And that looks different for everybody. And that's where I'm not here to tell you, one way or the other. But what I will say is, from my experience and from my studies, do no harm is best in this whole situation. And worry about yourself. Like he said, what did he say? Most people with a left-hand path are more worried about themselves than anybody else. They ain't thinking about nobody else. And this is how you see the evolution of these things getting out of control and turning into just more organizations, because you get these people who go off and be like, you know what? And they recognize their own power, and they recognize the ability to be able then to lead people. And so then they'll go lead people for their own agenda. That's where it starts to, take a turn. But the left path itself is just those that's willing to say, I'm ready to go inside. I'm ready for the deeper. Mm-hmm. Lessons, deeper visions, deeper parts of me.
Yep. Yep. Going into the deep, dark depths in order to find that enlightenment. That's why Napasha Das, he says, peace to the darkest minds of the light.
Listen, bro. Yeah. Listen. Yeah, I want to share this one last piece with you, because this is
go ahead.
Gonna give you a giggle.
Go ahead. So, we could go ahead and start reading the book.
Yeah, hey, listen. This part is gonna make you giggle like it made me giggle. Philosophical distillations from the high priest Peter H. Gilmore. You see how we keep coming across that name Gilmore? We're going to talk about that another time. But Peter H. Gilmore grew up in the Hudson Valley in New York. Gilmore holds a BS and an MA in musical composition from the New York University. He's also been a devotee to the teachings of Anton LaVey since the age of 13.
What?
And in 2001, he was named the high priest of the Church of Satan.
What?
As it appears now, LaVey could have hoped for no better successor. Gilmore entered his tenure as high priest as exceedingly well-seasoned student of the Black Pope. He has not tried to change the LaVeyan teachings, but he has distilled and refined them in a mode that seems centered in the heart of doctrines of the first high priest. Gilmore has brought many of the ambiguities and double-edged nuances inherent in LaVey's style into sharper philosophical focus. Gone are the oblique references to the man downstairs or to the carnal body as a mere shell, or to ideas of part of a person surviving death and gaining immortality.
Huh. Huh.
In the Hudson Valley.
In the Hudson Valley. In the beautiful Hudson Valley.
In the beautiful Hudson Valley, baby. I was like, really now? Now, you know, all that made me want to do is get in my vessel and ride around.
Oh, yeah. See what you can find. You know, hit up them historical societies and them.
Oh, trust me. You know, I already been. You know, I already been. But I thought that would give you a good tickle.
It did.
You listen, a seasoned student of the Black Pope. You know, that's something we haven't talked about. Yeah, you know, in UnRead, we kind of left that one alone.
Yeah, but I don't have any of those on my shelf. I do. They are on my list. Been on my list for a while, but I haven't gotten them to myself yet.
Yeah. I tell you, when I was asked one time about, you know, studying comparative religion, I said you study everything basically from atheism to Zoroastrianism. And one of the things that I will say is that in this book, he ends with, you know, Zoroastrianism, Zervanism, things that people probably have never even heard of. And I think it's so vital, especially now, as people are still experiencing their wokeness that I heard will no longer be tolerated.
Whatever that means.
What does that even mean? I'm like, anyway, I say like this, the things that you could spend your time kind of looking at in terms of benefits and, you know, what can benefit you and whatnot, you'd be surprised where you'd find some wisdom. You know, as Muslim, you know, I found it interesting that they had something about Muslims in here and Islam in here, and I was like, okay, you know, because I was like, why wouldn't you? You know what I'm saying? Why wouldn't you? Is you know, you're gonna find everything in here because everything has the source. I mean, it talks about the, you know, the burning of the witches and the assassins of the mountains, and, you know, just all of these things that you probably wouldn't even think have any root anywhere else than the places that we're told they are. You know, I remember, you know, Islam being presented in a way where, you know, this is this thing that, you know, is, you know, perfected in its space, but whatever, you know, but you also are made aware that it came from a state, as they say, of Jahiliyyah, which is a state of ignorance, and when things were basically people were worshiping idols and doing all the crafts and all these different things like that. But again, isn't that what you see going on right now? So why wouldn't we have to go back and look at some of these old things and take a look at them? Because I'm not for reinventing the wheel. I'm like, I will study the wheel. I see the benefits of the wheel. I see how the wheel could also hurt you. So is going in and being able to discern and think for yourself. So I think it's a really interesting book. And let me just say, and it's very few times I would say I don't recommend a book for anyone. But you remember one time I talked about a book here on UnRead, and I said when I got it, I realized that I wasn't grown enough to read it. This is one of those books you have to be secure enough in your space to kind of read, because if not, one, it can confuse you, and two, it could possibly skew your vision on what is quote unquote good or bad for you, to help you be the best version of yourself. So always about being the best version of yourself. Wonderful book, Lord's the Left-Hand Path, Forbidden Practices and Spiritual Heresies, from the Cult of Set to the Church of Satan, Stephen Flowers. This is
In other words, y'all better study y'all lessons, go through y'all degrees, get initiated before you take on that book.
Yeah, this is not one. Like I said, it's not a book to sit down and just read like a novel. You're not just going in there like that. You better sit down with a notebook and a pencil and get ready to, write down some words and look up some references. And like I said, he's made it so easy with this reference area, man. Like, it's so detailed by chapter, and then he goes in and does the bibliography, which is alphabetical order. So I mean, there's no way you can't go straight to. You got the Google in your hand. You can go straight to the source and look. You know what I mean? So it's a great book for reference. For people writing papers, getting ready to do lectures, studying deeper. Helping you to understand maybe in which direction you want to go. So again, it's a great book, Lord's the Left-Hand Path.
Amazing. Yeah, no, you talking about it. It is absolutely, definitely interesting. There's no question about that. No doubt about
it. Yes, definitely interesting. And and it's funny because it still feel a little grown for me. You know what I mean? It still feel a little grown for me. Just some of it is like, it's, I'm a reasoner. I'm a make it make sense kind of person. And so I'll read it and then I'll have to reread it. And then I have to sit and think about it. Then I need to go look at some other stuff first. And then, so for me, it's still a bit grown, and I'm not ashamed to ever say that about any book. I go back to many of the books that I've read and read them again and try to get a deeper understanding. So this one right here, it really, you really have to be through with all that, fire, brimstone. Oh, I ain't supposed to be studying this because it's bad. Oh, that's voodoo. Oh, you gotta be willing to. You can't be. You gotta be past that. You gotta be past all of that for real.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So we see how our books tie together, man. I love it.
Yeah, I see. Yep. The two books we brought to this episode, and like on the side offline, I'll share with you and the audience what I'm reading right now offline. I'm currently reading Lovecraft Country, and that's tied to to the book you brought too.
Yes, man. Lovecraft's work is mentioned, you
Oh,
know.
well, there you go.
Yeah, man.
Yep, there you go. And it has all the references to the biblical references, with the Adamites and some allusions to Aleister Crowley and the
Which is
Golden Dawn and all that. Yep.
yeah, you can't mention Lovecraft without Crowley, and the Crowley has a large area in this book. Again, this author set out to give you examples of the practitioners of the day. So the best of the best of that time who was doing it. You know what I mean? So, Crowley was highly regarded, and so, Lovecraft and all of those other names get mixed into that pot of definite, interesting, mysterious kind of information.
Oh yeah. However label or characterization you want to give it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, like I said, some of it's a bit wild for me. I'll be like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
but you grow, you live and you grow, and you learn, you're doing all the things.
Yeah. And then, like you said, it covers a wide range of things. So you just kind of, it's good to have a general knowledge and understanding of all of it. But at the end of the day, you're gonna take the best part for yourself and whatever is most applicable to you, and you're gonna apply it to your living in your life. And then whatever don't apply, you just leave it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know what? I think it would probably surprise some people to realize that they are already studying the left hand path.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They mentioned the Sufi Muslims.
Yep.
Though that's considered the left hand path. And if you've ever talked to a Sufi, they are some of the most logical, you know what I'm saying, brilliant minds, deep thinkers, and that level of mysticism that matches that Gnosticism in Christianity. You know what I'm saying? So it's interesting. I tell people, it's one of those things where you want something to do, believe me, there's enough time to go and research some stuff. You'll have fun.
Oh yeah.
Have fun.
I can tell. Well, I can say with certainty, absolute certainty, that one is going on my list. I am getting that one. Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah, man. It's a good one. It's a banger.
Yeah.
I'm definitely on that one that you got, because I love the study aspect of that one too. So I like that. I really do.
Yeah. Because got to make it practical. Because people might hear it and they're saying, oh, he's talking about psychics and spirit guides and
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot to bring. That's what I was saying. Like the books that we brought and a lot of the books that we do bring, is people gotta they have to be so free of some of that stuff. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, and I was gonna say that those you said you like the study questions. I think the study questions helps to bring this book down to a practical level for people who may not be familiar or into this level or type of spirituality.
Oh, so you're saying it's a good book for beginners too?
Well, I'm saying in turn. Well, I haven't read the book, but I'm saying just looking at those study questions. You say study questions, like the 3 study questions that I read during my sharing. It really sounds like it makes this topic more, like I said, practical and more, I guess less mystical and less hocus pocusy.
Right. I understand that
Yeah.
for sure. For sure, because just the word psychic would keep some people away.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just that
Absolutely
word,
would.
and that's why I asked if it was one of those books that you would have gotten for yourself, would that word have kind of like deterred you from getting it? So definitely you have to, like I said, you have to be free of a lot of the dogma in order to even pick some of these books up.
Yep, for sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think you have to know when something's just not for you.
You do, yeah. And you gonna feel it. You won't feel
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So I'm excited, man. I think we brought two great books. What do you think?
Oh, that's a rhetorical question, right?
Absolutely, man. Man, I'm so excited. Our next coming together is a surprise me. So I'm so excited about that. Who knows what we're gonna have? So make sure you are subscribed and have your little notification bell on, people, so you can know when we are coming. And just so you know, every 2 weeks, 2:30, right here, getting it in. We always have those replays up there, but we would love to have you live. Throw some questions in there. Tell us some books that you love. Like, you can always reach out. Mawulisatemple 1 on IG, on YouTube, MaWu Lisa with a Z 4610. You can always meet Mr. Westbrooks at Mr. Westbrooks. We are here to talk about these unread books. You know what? We actually have a segment coming up where we have somebody who recommended a book or two. So we'll be able to put some of those recommendations up. And I would love for you to add that book that you shared of Stephen Flowers as a little bonus book. Make sure we add that book too in the description and comment down there below, so people can know that is one of the ones on our list as well. Not just something that one of the authors written that we didn't have, that was written that we didn't have. So again, reach out to us if you would like to share, or know of any authors who are releasing new books. We are looking at that. We even have some folks coming up that's got some books coming out, that we're gonna be talking to. So excited about that. Don't forget to check out Knowledgeable on the Law and his Voices of Diaspora over at Do the Knowledge Radio. Check in with Nick for your numerology. Check in with MaWu Lisa Temple for those spiritual studies. Nick, that's all I got for this week. So
yeah, yep. And our MaWu Lisa Temple Supreme Numerics collaboration is going to be dropping soon. That we recorded a few weeks ago. That's going to be coming out, so they can look forward to that as well. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm excited about that too. We did, yo. He tore it up, y'all. The man is good with the numerology is on point, on point.
Yep. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think we covered it. Everything's in the description there. Yeah, so we can get up out of here.
Absolutely. Thank y'all for joining us again. Keep your eyes out for some upcoming things. We got some great things planned. We love sharing this space with you guys and being able to provide a space to talk about unread, reread books, hear your comments and share our thoughts. I am your sister Roo. That is my brother Nick. Thank you for joining us. We will see you again in 2 weeks. Surprise week. Don't